committee has spent long hours trying to find an organization that is worthy for us to raise money for them, and we think we have found a perfect candidate with Operation Shoestring. Operation Shoestring is an organization that's based in Jackson, Mississippi. It was founded in Jackson, Mississippi in 1968. The 60s were a hard time for Mississippi, especially in the Delta area. It was hard for people to find jobs, and a lot of them they just couldn't find jobs, and so they had to move away from their homes. They had to leave even some family members, and they had to move to a new location. So a lot of these people relocated to Jackson, Mississippi. Now this made things complicated because in the 50s or before the 60s, Jackson, Mississippi wasn't highly populated, and it was predominantly white. It was the predominant race there was white, and so when people kept moving there from the Mississippi Delta, it changed racial barriers. The demographics really changed. More people there were different races now, and it went from being predominantly Caucasian to now, in today's time, it's 80% African American. So the population there now is 80% African American, and the other 20% is split between the races. And I think 17% of that is white. So it's pretty much an 80-17 split, and then the other 3% are all the other races. So as you can tell, this probably caused a lot of problems, and it did cause a lot of problems. It caused a big racial divide. People weren't used to it. Back then, there was a lot of problems with racism, and it just caused a lot of problems. And so someone realized that this was an issue, and that wasn't the only issue. There was a lot of issues having to do with poverty, because these people were moving from their homes, fresh starts. They were trying to find jobs, so when they first got there, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have homes, they didn't have a place to go, and the people there weren't friendly to them. So someone realized this is a big issue, and they decided, we can change it, let's change it. So a church called Wells United Methodist Church met in their basement to talk about things that they could do to help the community, and they came up with this organization, Operation Shoestring. What the organization did when they first opened, they made sure kids had ways to school. They would pick kids up from school. They had after-school programs. Later on, they started helping moms get on food stamps. They would help them find help from the government. They had telephones. They could contact people who needed to be contacted. They had internet later on, and so they could help families who didn't have internet and make sure students had all the resources they needed. Also, they had a medical clinic, and when they first opened, they were doing all these different things, and they were doing it for just $600 a month. That's pretty awesome. They were able to do all that with just $600 a month, but now there's a lot more people in Jackson, and they're able to help a lot more people than they were. So as you can tell, they probably need a lot more than $600 a month to operate. And so we're just wanting to help them out a little bit, because they do so much for the community, and we want them to keep on going and to even expand. So our fundraiser idea is to do a city-wide scavenger hunt. Now, this is a fundraiser that we believe hasn't been done a lot. It'll be fun for a lot of people to join into, and it's not really that expensive either, and it's just a new idea, and we think it'll be a hit because it is so new, it is cheap to enter, and it's fun. So our plan is to do this citywide scavenger hunt, and we're going to do it next May, early next May. And so it'll be warm, the weather will be perfect to do it, it'll be an all-day event, it'll be family friendly. So we're going to have a starting point, and we'll get there at 8 a.m. that morning. It'll be groups of 3, so you can enter in groups of 3. You can have your family, your friends, whatever, but you can have groups of 3, and you can enter the race. And then you race across the city. but it's a scavenger hunt because you don't know where the next checkpoint is. So you race until one point and you find a clue that gets you to the next point, and then another clue that gets you to the next point, and then eventually you get to the finish line. So it's a race, but it's a scavenger hunt. This is gonna be a big hit. We can already tell. And so that's really what we're wanting to do fundraiser wise. The plan for that day is to meet that morning at 8 a.m., get all the groups there, make sure everyone's registered, and have a moment to talk about what everyone's there for, and then get to know the groups, let other groups get to know each other, and start the race, and it'll be an all-day event, and then hopefully all the groups make it back to the finish line, and then we finish and we declare our winners. So to do all this, of course, we need money, and that's why we're writing y'all to get the grant. And so we're proposing a grant of $1,000, and 300 of those dollars we have allotted for advertisement. We're going to use local radio stations, news broadcasting networks, posters, flyers. We're going to try and go all out with our advertising because that's really the key to success. Secondly, we're going to allot $200 for water and light snacks because in a race, water is very important. We want to make sure everyone's healthy and everyone's safe during the scavenger hunt. So we want to provide things like crackers that can keep them going, that has a lot of protein, peanut butter crackers and things like that, so no one gets hurt during the race. And then lastly, we have $500 allotted so that each group just has a little thing that they can take home proving that they participated in this event. We originally thought it was going to be t-shirts. It still may be t-shirts, but we may go another direction with that, but we've allotted $500 for that. So the impact of this fundraiser, we think, will have a very positive impact on the organization. We're planning on having 50 groups sign up, 50 groups of 3 people in each group, and each person individually that enters has to pay a $10 entry fee. Now all the math will add up for us to have about $1,500. So we'll raise $1,500 for this organization. Now if they could provide a whole month of services for everyone they helped when they first started out with just $600, we think that $1,500 will be able to help them a tremendous amount. And we know that they will be glad to get any money that we can give them, but our real goal is $1,500. Another thing is with this money that we give them, even if no one ever gives them another cent and they're never able to operate again, we will know with good conscience that we have done everything we can to help them and that indirectly we have helped someone in the community.